Good afternoon and welcome to the Kansas Speedway pre-race show here on ESPN Kansas City. My name is Kirk Elliott. Todd Surprise is joining us here as we get ready for a day full of activity here at Kansas Speedway on a Saturday. The NASCAR Cup Series cars are out on the racetrack right now practicing and getting ready to qualify here in about an hour from now. And later on this afternoon, the Xfinity Series Kansas Lottery 300 will get the green flag at about 3 o'clock. And so just a great day for activity that winds up tomorrow with the NASCAR Cup Series. Kansas, it'll be the Hollywood Casino 400 presented by ESPN Bet. That gets the green flag at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Here on the pre-race show, we're going to hear from several different drivers, including last week's winner Ryan Blaney, also Joey Logano, Chase Briscoe. We've got an interview with Tyler Reddick we're going to play during the show, and Pat Warren, the president of Kansas Speedway, will be joining us a little bit later on. Todd, are you ready to go racing?
It's going to be a good day of racing today.
Yes, sir.
I know the weather's perfect, so we're going to be good, man. I just know one thing, Kirk. Last year and this year, it's going to be some good. I think the racing's just going to be just as good as it was a couple years ago. Remember when we had the dramatic finish out here and everybody sold this thing as the closest race ever? I think we're going to get another really close race again on Sunday. And then today with the Xfinity, who knows what we're going to see? I mean, these young kids are. What do we have? One driver? Is it Corey Days that's racing? I mean, we got a couple dirt track drivers. I mean, heck, man, come on out and watch a little racing. It's going to be a great day to watch some racing out here.
Well, as far as the two races being compelling to watch, we're into the playoffs right now, and the stakes are really high. You look at both the Xfinity and the Cup Series race are both in the round of 12 right now. And as we look at the Xfinity Series standings, Connor Zillage is kind of running away with this thing. 9 wins.
Man, that kid.
He's a phenom, isn't he?
Yeah, and a few setbacks, so we say. He's had a couple little things. I mean, think about what would happen. This poor guy we know darn well that this guy's coming to he's coming to Cup this next year. Well, I don't know if they call it Cup, but they're coming to the big show next year, right?
Yep.
So I think this guy's going to go out and try to prove everything he can in these last few races, get him his championship. I mean, he's going to win. The money's on him, Kirk. If you're going to go across the street at the Hollywood Casino and put you some money down on the race, I think that's the guy you're going to put the money down on, right?
I would think so, based on his performance.
You may not get much back on your bet, but
9 wins for the year for Connor Zillage. And he's some news concerning Connor. They named Randall Burnett, the former crew chief for Kyle Busch at RCR Racing, as Connor's Cup Series crew chief next year at Trackhouse Racing. That was big news.
That's big news
here in the last couple of days. So Connor Zillage should be going full-time in Cup Series, but he's ending up with a bang in the Xfinity Series. That is for sure. He is the points leader right now. Justin Allgaier, the defending champion in the Xfinity Series, has 3 wins so far. He's second in the playoff points right now. Sam Mayer, Carson Quapple, Harrison Burton, Brandon Jones, a 2-time winner at Kansas Speedway, along with Sheldon Creed and Taylor Gray are above the cut line. Those are the guys we're going to be looking for here this afternoon. Below the cut line, guys that are looking to get above where they need to be. There's only one more race before they go to the round of 8. You have Nick Sanchez, Jesse Love, Austin Hill, and Sammy Smith that have work to do here this afternoon for the Kansas Lottery 300. So that gets the green flag at 3 o'clock this afternoon. But before that, we're seeing the Cup cars out onto the racetrack, and let's talk about that here just a little bit. Last week, Ryan Blaney led a kind of a dominating day for Penske. Joey Logano led, I think, the most laps in the race. He ended up in the top 5, but it was Ryan Blaney that stepped forward and captured his 3rd win of the year. And, when you win a race in the first race of the round of 12, that puts you at a big disadvantage because you've got that race under your belt. You know you're going to the round of 8. And here's what Ryan Blaney had to say, how big that is and how you can take that win for the next couple of weeks and how that affects their strategy going forward.
Yeah, I mean, it gives us a little bit more time ahead of time to think of Vegas. We're still going to give max effort at Kansas and the Roval. The goal is to win every single week, and we will not shy any attention away from Kansas or the Roval. But you might start working on Vegas a little bit earlier than you would, just knowing that you're going to be in the round of 8 there, and getting ready for that place. So, but it is comforting, right? I mean, that's the dream deal is winning the first race of the round, right? So where you're already know that you can focus on first race of the next round a little bit earlier, and maybe can experiment with something, in the other 2 races to maybe help. Like next week, maybe you try something at Kansas that might go better at Vegas, 2.5 miles. So it just gives you the options to do that.
Now, Ryan Blaney has not won a race at Kansas, although he's qualified for the pole a couple of times out here. He's had good runs out here, but looking for his first Kansas Speedway win. So we'll see how they do in the 12 Ford. Joey Logano does have wins here at Kansas Speedway. He's won 3 times. We had him on our show on Track Talk last Saturday, and he ended up qualifying for the pole after we talked to him. He led a bunch of laps at New Hampshire last weekend, and here's Joey Logano talking about Kansas Speedway and his approach to the 1.5 miles.
Yeah, Kansas is wide open. It's so fast there. Since this next-gen car, you're running up on the high side, especially maybe in qualifying. You're running up on the high side for qualifying. It's nuts. But it's been a really good track for the next-gen car because there's so many lanes. The tracks that have kind of single groove is pretty challenging to pass. Well, when you go to Kansas, there's 3 to 4 real lanes that you can move around to get clean air on the car to try to help you make a pass. It's great. That's what you want. So it's been an exciting race there the last 2 years. I'm sure it will be again.
Now, last year you won the championship. There was a couple of nervous moments during the playoffs to get in position to where you could win the championship. Do you feel that gives you an advantage? You handle pressure pretty well.
Yeah, I feel like our team does a good job. I'm back to the experience piece. I mean, that's where I think it helps, right? We've got a lot of been here, done that situations for us where, it's hard to put the 22 team in a position they haven't seen before. Which I think is helpful, right? I mean, it's, when you just kind of have an idea how to handle things, right? Anything you do for the second time, you're going to be better at it. So, I do feel like that's our advantage. I think that's why you see our team typically excel throughout the playoffs is because we have a lot of that behind us. And that seems to work most of the time. It helps us try to overcome some of the other challenges that we do face. So, every team has strengths and weaknesses. Our strength definitely seems to be able to handle the pressure of the playoffs really well.
NASCAR was talking about adjusting the championship where it's not just one race with the final 4. Just how do you feel about all that? How do you like the way it's? I guess you'd like it pretty well. You've won 3 times in this kind of a format.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I like the format that we have now. I like that it comes down to one race. I also understand that everyone has different opinions. There's some people that love it the way it is. There's a lot of people that don't. So what I do know about, unfortunately, our whole world is people love to complain. And no matter what the playoff format, somebody will say they don't like it. And a lot of it seems like sometimes depends on who wins. So we'll see what happens. Either way, whatever playoff format NASCAR comes up with, we'll figure out a way to win it. Right? I mean, that's all there is to it, right? You just got to see what it is and then try to adapt to it first.
Yeah, they're going to change the finale to Homestead next year. Do you think they're picking on Team Penske? You guys ran pretty well at Phoenix.
I don't know. I mean, I personally think the final race of the year should move every year. Sorry. Yep. I think it should be like the Super Bowl, right? It should go to different. That is our Super Bowl. It's our championship event. So, I think it should move around. to different places. So I'm excited going back to Miami. I mean, obviously we like going to Phoenix. It's been great for us, but we won a championship in a race at Miami as well. So I still feel solid about that too.
That is Joey Logano. He's just got that one win at Texas Motor Speedway the week before they were at Kansas Speedway last May. But, he brings up a point that I think a lot of people would adhere to, and this is coming from a three-time champion. You would think the first thing out of his mouth he wouldn't want it to change at all. Why would he want it to change? But he also said that he will deal with whatever they come up with. I'm still not convinced, Todd, that they're going to make any changes to the system right now. They've been talking about it, like instead of one race for the Final Four, they'd like 3 races or maybe even 4 races to determine the Final Four. I'm not sure. I guess you got to be careful what you wish for, because that may backfire on you a little bit too. So it would take away some of the drama of the last race, and I'm not sure that's what the TV networks are looking for.
Yeah.
Do you?
Now TV does definitely want to build this for all their drama. So I'm with you. I don't see a change happening anytime soon until they get something more something more pinned down to where everybody's like, hey, this might be a better system. So I'm like you, Kirk. I don't see much change. We didn't like the change kind of when it came to the point system back from the old days. So we've been in this system for a while. The playoff system, you can't complain when you're in Kansas, because here we are. It's playoff weekend here in Kansas. So I mean, these races just seem so much more every time they come to town here in Kansas.
Well, I think if they move it around to a different location for the finale instead of having it at Phoenix every year, where Penske seems to dominate.
I agree with that.
If you take it around to different racetracks, I think that will solve their problem.
Absolutely.
But I'm not a real big fan of the playoff format, because I'm not sure that one race, anything can happen in one race, and it more has to do with the reliability of the equipment than anything else. A flat tire could cost you a championship.
Yep,
one race. But at the same time, we've had this system for a number of years now. It's not going to be the same every year. You're not going to come down to the last lap of every finale every year. That's not the way sports works.
Yep.
Some years is going to be a runaway. It's not going to be as dramatic as other years. You have to live with it. So I think I'm in the camp at this point. We've had this system as long as we have now, that making changes to it every few years, I think, makes it worse, not better. I think you're better off just living with it and knowing that you're not going to be able to manipulate the outcome every year. It's not going to have the drama that you think it should have every year.
Yeah, you can't. It just like our race we had a few years ago out here, Kirk. You can't predict side-by-side racing with a photo finish that had to go to a computer.
It's not going to happen all the time.
It's just not going to happen all the time,
No.
but it'll keep coming back out here, So get on out here. It's going to be a good race day, and like you said, I'm with you, Kirk.
Well, this is the path they've gone down now for a number
here.
of years now. I think you probably need to stick with it at this point. So
yeah, you're not going to change this anytime soon until you have something more defined, what everybody's looking for. But I'm like you, Kirk. Don't ask for something, because you might get something that you really don't.
It may turn out to be something you don't like.
Exactly.
So that's the thing you got to be careful about. So look at the Cup Series playoff standings right now. Ryan Blaney, of course, he's already locked himself into the round of 8. William Byron has the most points above the cut line right now, 47 above. Kyle Larson is 41 points above. Christopher Bell, 29 to the good. You have Denny Hamlin with 5 wins this year. He's 27 above the cut line. He had some issues last week. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Joey Logano, 24 above. Chase Elliott is 14 above. And Chase Briscoe, 12 above, with Kansas and the Roval at Charlotte next week as the cutoff. Below the cut line, guys that have work to do. Ross Chastain, 12 under. Austin Cindric is 19 points below. Tyler Reddick, 23 below, and Bubba Wallace, who won the Brickyard 400 in late July, 27 below the cut line. So that's the picture as we head into tomorrow's race, how everybody's got to do. I think If you're William Byron and Kyle Larson, you don't need to win the race.
Nope.
You just need to have a solid day.
Have a good day, right?
But at the same time, if you have something go wrong early and you
Boy.
drop out early, you could find yourself,
Close to that
in a
edge.
real precarious situation in a hurry.
Yeah.
So that's the way that works. The biggest controversy last weekend had to do with teammates Denny Hamlin and Ty Gibbs. Have a little scruffle there during the race. I think Denny was not too happy with Ty Gibbs in his line right there, and he turned him. I think he flat turned him into the wall.
Yeah, I didn't
His
look.
teammate, Grandpa Joe Gibbs.
I was going to
I don't
say
think very happy about that.
he didn't see. Yeah, I don't think that was a good team meeting, right?
He said he's going to let the drivers handle it.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, team meeting Monday, things were.
I'll bet that you'd like to be a fly on the wall
Oh my
when that
gosh.
meeting occurred.
Boy, I tell you what, and good for them, keeping it interesting for Grandpa, right? I mean, he's seen it all, and here we are, and now he's dealing with this. I mean, every time we deal with Joe out here, he's always fun.
You
to
had
talk.
an issue with Ty Gibbs' interview after it was over. He didn't really want to answer the
Yeah,
question.
no, that's the thing. My only issue is just you don't have to give us any inside, Kirk. I'm not looking for what you and your teammates and your pit crew were talking about, but just give me something besides we'll see you at Kansas, and that's the only thing. Well, here we are, so we're at Kansas now, but I'm like you, just give me something I can let the interviewer have something she can put in her interview, Kirk. I mean, heck, she's out there working hard trying to get that interview, and that's all we got.
Ty Gibbs is the grandson of the great Joe Gibbs, the coach, and I don't know if Denny Hamlin's certainly not walking on eggshells.
No.
But you wonder just how everybody else in the organization handles that situation. But Joe Gibbs Racing got off to a very fast start. They won the first 3 races of the playoffs with 3 different drivers. The first of those drivers to win was at the Southern 500 at Darlington, Chase Briscoe. We spoke with Chase Briscoe when he was in town here a few weeks back, making the announcement that Jack Stack Barbecue is going to be the official barbecue of Kansas Speedway. And here's my question to Chase Briscoe about Kansas Speedway.
For us, I mean, Darlington was obviously just much easier for us to going there the second time, having notes as a new team, and just a new partnership, a new relationship. So yeah, looking forward to Kansas. That was, really I felt like the race that kind of was a light switch for us. Really turned the corner on how we started the season, and hopefully, it can be another great one for us.
Kansas Speedway is a track that is very racy. Was there any fall off as far as the racing, the quality of the racing in the spring from what we've seen in the past year?
I don't think so. If anything, I thought it was even better. You could really make moves and pass guys, and we came through the field and obviously ended up in the top 5. We were lapped down even at one point. So yeah, for us, I thought the tire fall off was there. You could move around the racetrack. It's really turned into, I feel like, probably the best mile and a half on the schedule. I mean, it's right there with Charlotte. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun to come to Kansas, and the intensity will be certainly high this time around, just with it being in the playoffs. And yeah, looking forward to it.
To win the Southern 500 in 2 different race teams, 2 different manufacturers, how proud of you are that?
Certainly proud. Just honestly winning at Darlington, the sense of accomplishment as a driver is really high. Just it's such a challenging racetrack, and to be able to do it with 2 teams and do it back-to-back years, from a confidence standpoint, it goes a long way. And it's definitely something to be proud of. It's something that never thought I'd even run a Southern 500, let alone win 2 of them now. So yeah, something to certainly be proud of, and something that I'll always cherish forever for sure.
What was you won at Pocono earlier this year? Kind of talk about that win.
Yeah, the Pocono one was, I would say, I've never felt such a sense of relief in my life, or at least in my career. Just coming over to JGR, you knew that you had to make the playoffs, and just how the season started, we would run okay, but we never really were able to win one, right? And to be able to finally win and know you're locked into the playoffs, and just finally going to a new team and getting that win, the weight of the world just felt like it was off my shoulders. And really from that Pocono win on, I feel like we've been arguably the best team. So yeah, it was definitely a huge turnaround for our team, and just I think a sense of the weight of the world not only off my shoulders, but really our whole race team. A lot of us felt like we had a lot to prove, and going there and winning there, it certainly turned our season.
You're here in Kansas City. A big announcement: Jack Stack Barbecue becoming a big partner. Kansas City and barbecue, that goes together.
Yeah, definitely go hand in hand. It'll be neat. Every time that you go to Victory Lane, it's special, right? But whenever they do something that kind of makes it unique, and especially adds a local flavor to it, I think it's really cool. So yeah, looking forward to hopefully eating Jack Stack Barbecue in Victory Lane at Kansas Speedway. It'll be neat. Also for the fans to be able to have the opportunity to go and get some food in the concourse. So yeah, looking forward to the partnership, and definitely when you think of Kansas, you think of barbecue, and certainly to have it there at the racetrack will be nice.
That's Chase Briscoe. He had a fourth-place run out here in the spring. Watch out for him. He could get it done. He's got 2 wins so far this year, and maybe a third this weekend. You're listening to the pre-race show here on ESPN Kansas City. We have Tyler Reddick coming up here in just a little bit. Pat Warren just a little bit later on in the hour. And we're coming back with more. Stay with us.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Welcome back to the Kansas Speedway pre-race show here on ESPN Kansas City. I'm Kirk Elliott along with Todd Surprise. Scott Traylor joins us every Saturday for Track Talk on Sports Radio 810 WHB, Saturday mornings at 8 o'clock. And he'll also be with us on our weekly podcast, Monday, Mostly Motorsports. Join us, go to racingboys.com or wherever you find your favorite podcast. Scott will be with me and Todd when we wrap up the show on Monday. Great day here at Kansas Speedway. We've got the Cup cars out on the racetrack right now, getting ready to qualify here in a little bit. The Kansas Lottery 300 for the Xfinity Series gets the green flag at 3 o'clock this afternoon. With the Chiefs in town tomorrow, Todd, this will be a good day to come out. You still got time to get out here.
Absolutely.
The traffic flow in and out of here is great to see
nothing better.
Cup cars qualify and the Xfinity race, and if you're going to be watching the Chiefs tomorrow, this would be a good day to come out.
Absolutely. And then if you're going to stick around, if you're coming out here today, they even got a question and answer today. John Hunter Nemechek, Zane Smith, and Cole Custer at 6:30 p.m. at the Hollywood Casino. It's free for everybody, Kirk.
There you go.
I mean,
check it out.
You can't beat that. And like you said, Hollywood Casino is right up on the corner. So
no other racetrack has a casino like
it's perfect.
Hollywood Casino in Turn 2.
And man, you can watch you can sit up there and watch a football game.
Absolutely.
Kirk, and watch the race.
And you bet on the race.
And you can bet on everything. So it's an awesome facility up here.
Tyler Reddick will be joining us here in just a couple of minutes, but there's just a lot of activity. We'll get into this with Pat Warren here just a little bit later on in the show about all the activities that's going on aside from what goes on the racetrack. Fans can get down close to the drivers. They got a red carpet. You can get up close to the drivers on pre-race tomorrow. And if you haven't already got tickets, just go to kansasspeedway.com and you can find out. The parking is free.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can make plans. Right now, you can come out and go up and buy yourself tickets at the window. And the traffic is easy in and out of here. Today be a good day to come out here and check it out.
Check it out. If you haven't been out here before, this is the perfect day to be coming out here and check it out. Let me tell you something else. If you haven't been out here before, they've got a pretty cool policy, too. You guys, you can bring a bag in, Kirk. You can bring your own food and drinks in here.
Now, who else allows that?
Nobody allows. Yeah. Nobody. I mean, I'm just saying there's a whole list of permitted items, and you're not going to see that list of permitted items at any other sporting facility anywhere. Maybe going to watch Little League Baseball. But I've even been at some Little League Baseball games, Kirks, where they check your bags and make sure you're not bringing in outside food and drink. So trust me, this is an awesome facility. You can bring in any of your drinks, man. You can even bring Kirk. You can bring your laptop in there.
The tickets are cheaper today than they will be tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Anyway. So let's get a crowd out here this afternoon. Tyler Reddick joining us. He's the driver of the number 45 Toyota for 2311 Racing, a part of the top 12 in the point standings as he tries to advance to the final 8 this weekend out at Kansas Speedway. How you doing, Tyler?
Doing great. How are you?
Not too bad. You're a former winner at Kansas Speedway. You got to be kind of licking your chops coming back. 23-11's got pretty good history out here, don't they?
Yeah, we definitely had a really good run for a couple years there. I think for us, the competition's really strong, and I feel like we've kind of been searching the last couple of trips. So, yeah, we try to use a mix of what we know works and just adapting to the changes of the car over the years, the changes to the Goodyear tires. I feel like all those things added up. We've been having to work on our formula, if you will, and we just haven't quite hit it yet. But everyone's been working hard since the spring. I feel like we tried to explore down a certain direction. It wasn't exactly what we wanted, but we learned something, and our other Toyota teammates have been good as well over at JGR. So with all the information that we have, I feel good about our odds, our chances, if you will, going into this weekend.
Yeah, in the spring you had a great qualify. I mean, when you qualified fourth, just talk to us about how that race transpired when you're here in May.
Feels like a very long time ago. But yeah, I mean, we haven't ran a lot of true mile and a half since Kansas. I think we went to Kansas and then ran Charlotte, and that's kind of been about it for the last couple of months. So obviously not a lot of chances to hit the track and work on the intermediate package. But yeah, the teams have had a lot of time to go through information and the numbers. I think, for us in our race, we had a very good practice. Like you said, we qualified well. For us, I remember going into that race just having a bunch of confidence, and just as the day went on, it seemed like we just, were able to uncover things about the car that were struggles more so in race conditions than practice or qualifying. So, yeah, just took a lot of notes. And, yeah, we've been, obviously going through the motions this week, getting it dialed in, the final touches on it. And, yeah, we'll see where it stacks up on Saturday in practice and in qualifying.
You had a great run at the Southern 500 a few weeks back, second place finish. What's been the biggest challenge in the races since Darlington, a second place?
Yeah, I think, it's the thing that I think most every team, when they come home Sunday night and talk about on Monday, what was the thing that held you back or what was the thing you fought, and it's just execution. I guess at Loudon we didn't necessarily fight that, but at Gateway, at Bristol, we just missed opportunities. The smallest mistakes can turn into big losses on the racetrack and on pit road. So, yeah, it's just the nature of this race car and this racing today. Everyone's gotten so fast and efficient at just so many different things that, the little mistakes that used to cost you a tenth of a second can now, cost you a second or more. It's the same way on restarts. I feel like you're able to put yourself in position to gain a number of spots, but it's also possible to be on the wrong side of that and then lose 4 or 5 spots as well. So just the nature of Gen 7 racing, I'd say.
23 points below the cut line. Just how do you approach a situation? You've got this week, you've got next week, the Roval at Charlotte. You do pretty well on road courses. Just how do you approach it knowing where you're at in the point stand? You just got to feel like you got to win the race and not worry about anything else?
Not quite that aggressive. It's essentially very similar, though. I think for us, there's 2 paths, and it's have 2 very strong point stays back to back, or win of one of these next 2 races. And I think the path to, the way that you have success with either of those approaches is by showing up with a lot of speed, having a clean day, execute well on strategy. So I'd say to win the race at Kansas or to be one of the top point earners at Kansas, it takes the same approach, essentially. Races can come down to a late caution. Do you make an aggressive call or the smart call? That could certainly come into play, possibly. But when you look at the whole race, the stages, and, again, if you want to score points or if you want to win this race, you got to run up front all day. So I feel like for us, yeah, we're looking to do one of those two things, but the approach is very similar for both outcomes that we're looking for.
What is it about Kansas Speedway you like the most?
Yes, the progressive banking, I think, is what I like about it. It really started to show up more so. I mean, it started to show itself a little bit towards the end of the Gen 6 car. But, especially with the Gen 7 car, you're able to really work multiple lanes around this racetrack. We've, for the most part, typically find our speed up around the top of this racetrack, but the middle and the bottom, all the racetrack that we have from white line to the wall is very raceable, very usable. It creates for a lot of chaos and very exciting restarts where you have the opportunity to gain or lose lots of spots. And certainly as you get racing, you can get very creative as a driver, working on your line and car placement throughout the day, trying to create the most speed.
How would you compare getting in an off-pit road at Kansas Speedway to some of the other racetracks you race at?
Yeah, it's probably one of the more challenging ones. I'd say for many years it was kind of in there with, some of your others like Texas and Charlotte and whatnot. But just the amount of pace loss, tire degradation that we have here now, by the end of the Goodyear tire life, you just don't have a lot of grip left. So when you do finally make that green flag pit stop at a place like this, the tires are already pretty much at the end of their life, and then you ask them to come you do essentially ask them to come to a complete stop. So it is a lot of work on them. The pit road exit here under the green flag conditions, just the nature of the road course coming back out to the oval and the bumps that you kind of have to manage make it pretty tricky as well. Some of these intermediates that we go to, the apron, that first line below the painted white or painted yellow line does have some banking. At a place like Kansas, it doesn't. So again, just really flat and tricky to get your speed back going after a pit stop.
What do you remember most about winning that race 2 years ago? What was the high? I know winning, going to victory lane's a highlight, but what was remind us what the big factor was, how you won that?
Yeah, I mean, on one side of it, I remember, trying to do everything I could to close in on the race leader at the time, Denny Hamlin. We kind of stalled out and began to fall back away from him. Looked like he was in control, going to win the race. And yeah, we had a caution late. Some cars stayed, some cars took two. We were kind of a part of that first wave of cars that took four tires there. And yeah, just funny enough, Denny and Kyle were lined up to my outside. They got caught up in playing games amongst themselves. We were able to break away from that, and I call it luck, call it just making the right decision. I was able to place my car in the perfect places to get around those cars on those older tires. Probably the most crucial moment of it all was Joey Logano and Eric Jones racing door to door, kind of slowing each other down, and I chose to go to lane 3 after I cleared Kyle Busch, and was able to take the momentum I got from the top, take them 3 wide bottom, and clear them by turn 1. So, yeah, it was a lot happened there in that first lap of that green-white checkered attempt we had. The final lap itself was pretty carefree and relaxing.
Tyler, thanks so much for spending time with us. Good luck to you here this weekend, the Hollywood Casino 400, and hope to talk to you again soon.
Awesome.
That's Tyler Reddick joining us as he gets ready for the Hollywood Casino 400 presented by ESPN BET tomorrow at 2 o'clock. When we come back, we're going to talk with the president of Kansas Speedway, Pat Warren, as our Kansas Speedway pre-race show continues here on ESPN Kansas City.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Welcome back to the Kansas Speedway pre-race show here on ESPN Kansas City, brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the PowerEye Midwest Lightning Sprints. Pat Warren is the president of Kansas Speedway. Excited about everything that's gone on so far. We've had a good weekend so far, and Pat talks about Kansas Speedway being one of the most exciting racetracks of the whole circuit. And it is shown to be that way with previous races that have been very entertaining to watch.
Well, we've really had great racing with the next gen or the Gen 7 car at the track. The closest finish in NASCAR history a year and a half ago. We had great racing last fall. Our spring race, Kyle sort of ran away with it, but the quality of the racing was good. He just led too many laps for a lot of people's taste. So, I think always in the playoff races, you see very, very competitive and aggressive racing, and I think you're going to see that next weekend. You've got guys who are, trying to win a NASCAR championship, and the way you do that is by fighting for every lap. And so I fully anticipate that we're going to have a phenomenal weekend of racing, especially on Sunday.
Yeah, there's no question about that. A couple of weeks ago, we were out at Jack Stack Barbecue. Made a big announcement out there. They are the official barbecue of Victory Lane of Kansas Speedway. Talk about it. Had Chase Briscoe in town to help announce that.
Yeah, we started doing ribs in Victory Lane, I think 2 years ago, and we worked with a group called Smokin' Brother, Cape Girardeau, Missouri. They're great. They were a great partner, but their business was really smokers, not the food. The ribs like Jack Stack is. And so, we opened a relationship or opened a conversation with Jack Stack, and we were able to secure a partnership with one of the premier barbecue restaurants in Kansas City, and I think the country, and we're really excited about it.
And, this weekend they got the lobster at New Hampshire. It's barbecue at Kansas Speedway. Both races in the spring and fall, isn't it?
Yeah, we do it for just the Cup race. But, yeah, we do ribs and we do beef ribs. Our spring entitlement partner, Advent Health, is part of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. They don't eat pork, so we do beef ribs for both the spring and the fall.
What are some of the other activities that fans will look forward to coming out, aside from the racing on the racetrack this weekend?
Well, we added the pickleball courts a few years ago, which have been very popular in Turn 1 in the Highline District. We've got the NASCAR experience in the fan midway behind the grandstands. We're going to have I just signed a contract this week for a golfing simulator that's going to be out there. So anybody I'm not really a golfer, but anybody who is, you're going to have the opportunity to do that. I think it has a party deck on top, so it sounds like sort of an interesting thing. On Sunday, of course, we open up the infield. You can get inside the garage, not like a garage path, but in a bike racked off area where the first 10 cars are. Inside, if you've got a pre-race pass, and so it's really an opportunity to get up close. We pride ourselves on being the most accessible sport of all the professional sports, and on Sunday you really see that when you can sign start-finish line, you can sign the crash wall. Really opportunities to get up close to the event.
Yeah, and it's even gotten better over the last, of course, Kansas Speedway has been in existence for 25 years now, so that's amazing in of itself. But I've noticed even just over the last 4 or 5 years, the access to the drivers is as close as it's ever been right now because of what you've done. You opened up the garage area where people can walk up and get closer to the drivers now. That seems to me even way bigger in the last 3 or 4 years than we've ever seen.
It's interesting. For most fans, they probably haven't seen the effects of our merger with NASCAR. When ISC, which was the company that owned racetracks before, and NASCAR merged just before the pandemic. But that, I would tell you, this kind of thing is one of the outgrowths because before, I don't want to say it was an us-them mentality, but it was NASCAR and the tracks. and now we're one unit, and we work as a team. And so when we need something, in this case, like from our competition team, we just have a little bit closer relationship, and it just makes things a little smoother. And so Scott Miller and Brad Moran worked with us on that, and it's when you can sort of go to the top of the food chain and the people who run the garage quickly and easily, it makes a difference.
What about entertainment? You got, I know in the past you've had musical entertainment pre-race. What kind of pre-race are we going to expect for the Sunday race?
Well, we're going to have a DJ on stage, on the main stage, no big concert before the Sunday race. We do a concert Friday night for the campers on the fan walk stage, and we'll have music and concerts throughout the weekend, but nothing big like we've done in the past. I'll be honest, the cost of production on the concerts, basically the sound, has become 3 times the cost of the band. And it just hasn't been something we've been able to make work what we can justify in terms of the impact we see on ticket sales. So we sort of shifted, and we're trying to provide different kinds of entertainment, also trying to target a little younger audience, honestly. And so that skews towards things like DJs instead of the live entertainment right now.
Hey, one thing I've noticed, too, over the last several years is how much more the Midway has become a beehive of activity. There was, I'll admit, there was a little bit of a lull for a few years, but it's really coming back, the activity in the Midway area. You're seeing, the merchandise trailers and all kinds of stuff going on in the Midway area has really picked up steam over the last few years, too.
Yeah, I think so. We did, for a while, we partnered with Fanatics, who works with every other major sports league and still does our online store. And they were adamant about doing I'll call it a tent-based merchandise system, which our fans honestly didn't react well to. And we brought the merch haulers back to traditional, what people have seen for years, and they love it. And so we did that. We pulled it up close, and we made it part of the Midway. It used to be sort of Midway. You hit the Midway first, then you hit the merch trip. We combined it all. There are fewer people bringing out activities now because, frankly, the internet makes it more cost effective for people to market directly than to go to an event and market. And so you got to find the right partners who want to activate and interact with people at an event. As an example, like today, we're going to be at the grand opening for Duluth Trading in the Legends. We're also going to be at a Hy-Vee store from two events that we're doing today with the pace car and the pace truck. But, you probably see it with radio remotes and radio. People just do less of that type of activity anymore because it's marketing via the internet.
Of course, camping is a big aspect to the whole experience at Kansas Speedway, too. Just how has that evolved here over the last few years?
Well, we added a new camp. We're trying to experiment this fall. We combined our 2 driver owner lots, and so we're selling up to 20 spaces in what we call our south driver owner lot, or the lot, the one that would sit closer to turns 1 and 2 near pit out. And so it's the first time that we've ever had an opportunity for people to camp on the infield and have power and water hookups. All of our infield camping is primitive except the driver owner lots, and so it's really a premium experience. We just put that on sale about a month ago. We've sold several spaces. We're not sold out. Anybody who wants a high-end camping experience on the infield, that's an opportunity we've never had before that we're trying out to see how it works.
And how do they get in touch with you if they're interested in that? How's that work?
You could I think you have to buy, you may be able to buy that online. I know you can buy it if you call 866-460 and talk to one of our agents. The reason I'm not sure you can buy that online is I think you got to pick your space, and I'm not sure the map is set up to be able to do that. And we've also got some restrictions. It's got to be a traditional motorhome. It can't be a pole behind or a fifth wheel. There's some things like that just because of the configuration of the area.
I know the Chiefs play on Sunday, and I know people they don't want to make choices, but you can still do it all, folks. You can still watch the Chiefs and still come to the race too. That's possible to do that. But for those that may have tickets to the Chiefs game, they come out on Sunday and see these Cup Stars, or on Saturday they can come out and see the Cup Stars that qualify at 2:00 in the afternoon. They'll see an Xfinity Kansas Lottery 300 at 3:00. So there's a really good opportunity for Saturday for people to come out and enjoy a good day of racing and still see all the stars of the NASCAR Cup Series, right?
Yeah, and Saturday is really a fantastic value for anybody that wants to either try the sport, or if you're a big fan and you want to see both Cup and Xfinity, because to your point, you get the Cup practice, you see all the top stars and top drivers in the world racing or practicing and qualifying on Saturday, and then you get the race in addition to that. And kids are free, and you remember at our place, you park for, you bring in your own food and drink. It really can be an economical family outing.
Pat Warren, the president of Kansas Speedway, joining us here as we wrap up our pre-race show here on ESPN Kansas City. We got a few tidbits here I'd like to kind of go over with you there, Todd. Do you realize that this is the 40th NASCAR Cup Series race since Kansas Speedway opened?
Wow.
That's hard to believe
40.
that. Of course, we've had 2 races a year since 2011, so that would add up pretty quickly.
Yeah, double up, right?
Did you realize that this is the first 1.5 mile racetrack on the circuit since the Coca-Cola 600, May 25th?
Yeah,
the first traditional 1.5 mile race since May 25th. That's Memorial Weekend. That's hard to believe.
That is hard to believe. We had Reddick even talked about it. It's been a while since we've had one of these tracks, so not much to go off of right now.
This is the 8th time Kansas has hosted a playoff race, and this is only one of 4 racetracks that has hosted playoff races in all 3 rounds. How about that? And only one of 4 tracks that has hosted a playoff race every year of the playoffs. Talladega, Martinsville, and Phoenix being the other racetracks. And this is the 26th race at Kansas since they repaved the track following the 2012 season. And the winner of the Fall Kansas race has gone on to win the championship 4 times. Now, Jeff Gordon did it the first year the track was open, and Jimmy Johnson did it in 2008. But since the playoff began, there's only 3 drivers that have, actually there's only 2 drivers that have gone on to win the championship after winning the Fall Kansas race since the playoffs began, since they had the elimination rounds. That's Martin Truex Jr. in 2017 and Kyle Larson in 2021. So a little bit of history there, Kansas Speedway. So who do you think's going to win, Todd?
I'm going to have to go with Christopher Bell, C-Bell. I'd like to see C-Bell pick up the win. He's been hot lately.
He's won an Xfinity Series race here, but never a Cup race.
Not a Cup race. I mean, he's been hot lately. I don't know. It's hard to go against Byron and a couple of those guys. Obviously, the betting line, if you go across the street, I'm sure if you're going to put a bet on the race today for tomorrow's race, you're going to have Kyle Larson. Is not going to get your money back very well. He's your odds-on favorite. I mean, far.
If you're going to bet, you better pick somebody with a little longer odds.
I think I'd go down and pick maybe Bubba Wallace as my backup and see who I go. But I'm going to pick. I think I'll go ahead and take. I hate to go against Blaney because, man, Blaney's just got something about.
And he's not won at Kansas Speedway in a Cup race
either. So here's what I'm going to do. C-Bell and Blaney. Those are my 2 picks. How about that? 2 people who have never won here.
Blaney as your backup?
Blaney will be my backup.
I'm going to go with William Byron, who also has not won a Cup Series race at Kansas Speedway. I saw him win up at Iowa Speedway back in August. He's got 2 wins. He won the Daytona 500, and he won at Iowa Speedway. So I'm going to go with William Byron, who always seems to, if he gets good finishes out here. It'd be too easy to pick Kyle Larson. But as my backup pick, I am going to go with, who do you think there, Todd?
I don't know.
Who do you think I'm thinking about?
I don't know.
I'm going to go as my backup pick, Joey Logano.
I was getting
How about that?
Joey Logano. I mean,
he doesn't think he's got a good enough race car out here, as he said in the interview. So I'm going to say Joey Logano is my backup pick. He's a 3-time winner out here at Kansas Speedway. So Penske is just really doing. We thought that Joe Gibbs Racing off to such a great start. Who's going to beat those guys? Then the Penske cars stepped up.
They sure did. And then, I don't know, Toyota. Kansas is, and like they say, there's a top and a middle and a bottom, Kirk.
Yeah.
You can race anywhere you want on this thing and throw a dart and pick a name.
That's why we go we really don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to find out tomorrow. So we hope we hope to see you out here at Kansas Speedway. Again, the Xfinity race at 3 o'clock this afternoon. We've got the Hollywood Casino 400 tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. It's the green flag. Be careful when you come out here. We appreciate you tuning in to the show. For my partner, Scott Traylor, for Todd Surprise, I'm Kirk Elliott. Thanks for joining us. We're brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the Power Eye Midwest Lightning Sprints. Check with us on Monday on RacingBoys.com for Mostly Motorsports with a wrap-up of the weekend's activities. Thanks for tuning in.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
When Steve died, the outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we are able to do the work we do.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum, and our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.